And dear friends, once more, good morning. As many of you might be aware, there's a great difference between knowing a person and knowing about a person. And we know that sometimes in life, we find ourselves in positions where we have to treat people based on that dichotomy, the difference between knowing about someone and knowing someone. When we talk about knowing a person, we're talking about a relationship that comes as a consequence of an experience. It comes as a consequence of an ongoing interaction. To know someone means that we are constantly making an effort. We are constantly reaching out to that person. We're making, in essence, an intentional effort to try to have an experience of that person. But to know about someone is simply to have statistical information about that person. So simply just because I know your age, your race, your spouse, the school you went to, and all those basic informations doesn't mean I know anything about you. And I think one of the reasons why it is so hard for us to participate fully in our political process is because we know a lot about our politicians, but we do not truly know them. And I think it is the same thing that happens in so many of our relationships. And that is the basis for why Jesus tells us never to judge someone. That we are called never to judge because we have a lot of information about people, but we do not know people truly who they are. And because you can never truly understand and fully have an experience of someone, then none of us is in a place or in a position to draw a conclusion or somehow to make a definitive statement about someone else. In our gospel today, it is the same thing that the apostles confront Jesus about. Now, this is the most emotional part of the entire scriptures, at least in my reckoning, because it is at the Last Supper, and Jesus is coming to the end. And it is amazing that after 3 years with the apostles, for the first time, the apostles tell him, now we truly understand who you are. So for all those years he's been talking to them, performing so many miracles, trying to reveal to them his true power, they never understood who he was. And right before his passion and death, they come out to profess that now we truly understand who you are, and now you're able to speak plainly, and you're able to reveal to us your true identity. Now when we think about the same project, the difference between knowing about someone and knowing someone, we understand that for God, that is a little different. Again, all of us have a lot of information about God. We have a lot of basic information about who God is. But I think the apostles today help us to go down a different path. And that is a path of trying to understand or know God, not simply to know about God. And we understand that to know God is to have an experience of God. And that experience comes as a consequence of study. It comes as a consequence of prayer. It comes as a consequence of meditation, of listening, and spending time in God's presence. So as we continue our guided meditation, that is the question I'm going to ask each one of you today. Can you truly say you know God? Or do you simply know about God? And that same logic should apply in our relationships. Can we truly say we know each other? Or do we simply know about each other? And how do you treat other people when you simply know about them without truly knowing them? But the great project that each one of us has ultimately is to know God and not simply to know about God. And to know God requires effort. It requires relationship. It requires prayer. It requires spending time. Let each one of us, as we continue to anticipate Pentecost, ask ourselves truly if we know God. Praise God.